that kept off all sickness and decay. No wine of earth's yielding ever appeared at these royal banquets, nor were there seen here the heaped-up platters of food such as mortals crave, for the gods ate only of the divine ambrosia, which ensured them to eternal youth and beauty. For so long a time had fair-haired Hebe served at the feasts of Olympus that the gods never thought that she could be deprived of her office. But once, as she was handing Jupiter a well-filled cup, she stumbled and fell, and the ruler of men and gods was so angry that he vowed that she should never again be a cupbearer. Since no one among the gods was willing to fill this humble position, Jupiter was obliged to seek over the earth for some mortal to take the place of poor disgraced Hebe. To make the journey as speedily as possible, he assumed the form of an eagle, and spent many days soaring over the land before he found the youth whose slender grace made him feel assured that its possessor would be able to serve the gods less awkwardly than Hebe. On the sunny slopes of Mount Ida he saw a group of youths playing games, and among them was one whom Jupiter determined to bear away at once to Olympus. This was Ganymede, a prince of Troy, and the fact that he was no common mortal, but the king's son, did not deter Jupiter from sweeping down upon the astonished youth and carrying him aloft on his wings. Whether Ganymede was happy in Olympus we do not know, but the story goes that he remained forever at Jupiter's side, and the city of Troy never saw him again, nor did the king his father ever know the reason for his strange disappearance. Mars was the god of war, and though he was the least loved of all the deities in Olympus, he was the one most feared by the people of everywhere. He was always a hater of peace, and would stir up strife among men for the mere delight of fighting and bloodshed. The poet Homer calls him the slayer of men, one steeped in blood, the destroyer of walled towns. His shrines were never wreathed with flowers, nor were children often found among the people grouped about his altars. Instead of the yearling ox with gilded horns, men sacrificed a savage bull to the god, who took no pleasure in the tame shedding of blood. Sometimes Bellona, goddess of war, accompanied Mars in his chariot to watch over his safety, and since she was equally eager to urge men on to bloody fighting, their appearance together on the battlefield brought terror to the bravest heart. Seldom were prayers addressed to these two deities, except those of vengeance upon enemies, and there was little hope of peace for the nation when men thronged the temples where Mars and Bellona were jointly worshipped. The fiercest passions were kindled at their shrines, and their altars were the only ones that were ever defiled by human sacrifices. Though so fierce in warfare, Mars was as susceptible to love as were all the immortals, for he was not only the chosen one of the golden-haired Venus, but was also the devoted lover of the Vestal Rhea Silvia. This maiden, being dedicated to the goddess Vesta, did not dare to listen to any words of love until her time of service in the temple was over, for the penalty of breaking her solemn vows would be the terrible one of being buried alive. But Mars was not to be denied, so at last the Vestal yielded, but kept her marriage secret, and continued to live in the temple until the birth of her twin sons Romulus and Remus. When her parents learned that she had failed to keep the sacred promise made at the altar fire at Vesta, they demanded that she should suffer the prescribed punishment. She was therefore taken at night into an underground room of the temple, and enclosed in the wall which had been built to allow for just such a tragic event. As her children were declared outcasts, they were taken into the forest and left to perish by the teeth of wild beasts. Romulus and Remus did not die, however, for a she-wolf carried them to her lair and reared them with her own cubs. Later on they were found by a kindly shepherd who took care of them until they grew to manhood. Then they left him and went out into the world to seek adventures, which soon ended in Romulus killing his brother Remus, and himself becoming the founder of Rome. When this new city was well established, Mars was made its patron deity and protector, and before an army set out on any military campaign, the leader would first go into the temple where the sacred shield, the Ancile, hung, and touching it fearfully would pray, "O Mars, watch over us." This shield was carefully guarded in Rome, for upon it depended the safety of the city. It was a special token sent by the god of war to show that the people of Rome were under his protection, For once, when a plague was raging among them, and the dead were numbered by thousands, the Romans fled to the Temple of Mars and begged him to help them. As they were praying, a shield fell from the skies into their midst, and a voice told them that as long as this, the sacred Ancile, was with them, no harm could come to Rome. That day the plague ceased, and ever afterward the shield was jealously guarded. To ensure its safety, 11 other shields were made so like the Ancile that no one but the Salii, the priests of the temple, knew which it was. These were carried in the streets during the festivals in honour of Mars, which were held in March, the month that bears his name, and as the priests bore aloft the shields, they sang war songs and performed rude war dances. Sometimes the shields were displayed on the broad grounds where soldiers and youths of the city held their exercises. This place was dedicated to the god of war,